ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शांति शांति शांति। Namaskar my dear friends, this is second video on the Atma or Brahmgyana or the knowledge of the self as described in Brihadarnayaka Upanishad. I start this video from the last paragraph of the first video. This shining immortal person who is in this earth, and with reference to oneself, the shining immortal person who is in the body, he indeed is just thus the self. This is the immortal, this is Dharma, this is all. Within this material creation, as the projector of the dream creation, is the self-luminous immortal person, the Param Purusha, the cosmic dreamer, and within this material body is the self-luminous immortal self, the Jiva, the individual Purusha who is dreaming along with the dreamer its personal finite dream of incarnation after incarnation. See, as Brahma is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, same way Atma is also omnipotent, omniscient and omnipresent. So, like Brahma, Atma is also having infinite spectra of spirituality. When this Atma, being infinite, resides in the spiritual heart of human beings, this is known as Jivatma, or simply we can say Jiva. Atma and Paramatma, there is no difference as per non-dual Advaita Vedanta. So this self verily is the Lord of all beings, the King of all beings, as all the spokes are held together in the hub and folly of a wheel, just so in this self all beings, all gods, all worlds, all breathing creatures, all these selves are held together. This verily is the person dwelling in all bodies. This person means Atma. There is nothing that is not covered by him, nothing that is not pervaded by him. This Brahma is without an earlier and without a later, means no beginning, no ending. Without an inside, without an outside. This Brahma is the self, the all-perceiving. It is this dynamic unity beyond past, future, inside or outside, which we must realize and recognize as the self of ourself, the consciousness in our consciousness. That means Atma and Brahma are beyond past, future or present, beyond time. Perhaps the greatest of the sages whose teachings are presented in the Upanishads, was Yajnavalkya. He was once asked, since everything here in this world is pervaded by death, since everything is overcome by death, by what means does the sacrificer free himself from the reach of death? Yajnavalkya replied, by speech, vak, verily, through speech. This speech is freedom, mukti, liberation. This is complete freedom. By the power of sound, liberation is attained as is stated by the last sutra of the Brahma Sutra. Through mantric invocation of the immortal, the yogi becomes liberated, not partially but completely. Yajnavalkya said, when such a person, a liberated sage, dies, do the vital breaths move up from him, or do they not? No, replied Valkya. They are gathered together in him. Just as a snake sheds its skin, so the liberated person leaves his material, annamaya body behind. But these subtle, astral and causal energy bodies merge into him, are literally transmuted and assumed into spirit. For after all, everything is essentially spirit in manifestation. Yajnavalkya said, when such a person dies, what is it that does not leave him? The name is infinite, thereby he who knows this wins an infinite world. Name here means the mantric designation, embodiment of the self, of pure consciousness, Soham. In the very first verse, it was commented on it, says that the cosmic self in the beginning first said, Soham Asmi, I am Soham. And as we will see later in the 16th verse of the Isa Upanishad, the departing self says exactly the same, I am Soham. He who breathes in with your breathing in is the self of yours which is in all things. He who breathes out with your breathing out is the self of yours which is in all things. He is your self which is in all things. Inhalation and exhalation are direct manifestation of the self, and therefore breath yoked to sound is the yogi's indispensable tool. It is the self which breathes within the breath, vibrating so during inhalation and hum during exhalation. Therefore the yogi observes his breath and does the same in order to link with and merge into the consciousness that is his self. You cannot see the seer of seeing. You cannot hear the hearer of hearing. You cannot think the thinker of thinking. You cannot understand the understander of understanding. He is yourself which is in all things. Everything else is of pain. Sri Ramakrishna was once asked, what is the self? He answered, the witness of the mind, which includes all the perceptions of senses. It is consciousness itself. Artha means pain, pained, distress, distressed, and affliction, afflicted, which certainly apply to both the world and those in it. Everything but the self is Artha. He who dwells in all beings, yet is within all beings, whom no beings know, whose body is all beings, who controls all beings from within, he is yourself, the inner controller, the immortal. Thus far, with reference to the beings, now with reference to the self. He who dwells in the breath, yet is within the breath, whom the breath does not know, whose body the breath is, who controls the breath from within, he is yourself, the inner controller, the immortal. See, each and every part of the body receives power from Atma, from the self. That's why our Atma is the controller of our bodies. Because Atma provides the vital force, prana, power to all the body parts. Thoughts originate from the Atma. After thought only, person is able to act. So first comes the thought, then comes the action, and this way cause and effect is involved. Again we see why breath is indispensable to the yogi and why the breath is the foundation of authentic Raja Yoga, not the contortions of the breath produced by the breathing exercises of Hatha Yoga, but the Atmic breath, the natural, spontaneous breath of the self, which vibrates, so and hum as its essence. So hum is connected with breathing. Verily, that imperishable is unseen, but is the seer, is unheard, but is the hearer, unthought, but is the thinker, unknown, but is the knower. There is no other seer but this. There is no other hearer but this. There is no other thinker but this. There is no other knower but this. This means Atma here. Infinite consciousness pervades everything. That is Brahma. And the Katha Upanishad says to each one of us, Tattva Tvam Asi. Thou art that. Means you are that. Means Atma and Brahma are same. Then Vidagdha Sakalya asked him, how many gods are there, Yajnavalkya? He answered, 303 and 3003. How many gods are there, Yajnavalkya? 33. How many gods are there, Yajnavalkya? 6. How many gods are there, Yajnavalkya? 3. How many gods are there, Yajnavalkya? 2. How many gods are there, Yajnavalkya? 1.5. How many gods are there, Yajnavalkya? 1. Depending on how we look at it, there are many gods and yet only one. In the following 27 verses, there are enumerations of the gods indicated by all the numbers before one. You will find them in the complete translation of the Upanishad, but at the very end we find this. Which is the one God, the breath, prana, he is Brahma. They call him Tyat, that. Here again we see why the breath is an indispensable element of yoga sadhana. The self is not this, neti, neti. He is incomprehensible, for he is never comprehended. He is undestructible, for he cannot be destroyed. He is unattached, for he does not attach himself. He is unfettered, he does not suffer, he is not injured. This very clear, but let us recall the glorious words of the Bhagavad Gita. It is known that the unreal never comes to be and the real never ceases to be. The certainty of both of these principles is seen by those who see the truth. Know indeed that by which all this universe is pervaded is indestructible. There is no one whatsoever capable of the destruction of the eternal. Neither is the self slain, nor yet does it die at any time, nor having been will it ever come not to be. Birthless, eternal, perpetual, primeval, it is not slain whenever the body is slain. This self by weapons is cut not. This self by fire is burnt not. This self by water is wet not. And this self is by wind dried not. This self cannot be cut, burnt, wetted, nor dried. This primeval self is eternal, all-pervading and immovable, unmanifest, unthinkable. This self is called unchangeable. That self is indeed Brahma, consisting of or identified with the understanding, mind, life, sight, hearing, earth, water, air, ether, light, and no light, desire and absence of desire, anger and absence of anger, righteousness and absence of righteousness, and all things. This is what is meant by saying it consists of this, what is perceived consists of that, what is inferred. According as one acts, according as one behaves, so does he become. The doer of good becomes good, the doer of evil becomes evil. One becomes virtuous by virtuous action, bad by bad action. Others, however, say that a person consists of desires. As is his desire, so is his will. As is his will, so is the deed he does. Whatever deed he does, that he attains. This is a description of both Brahma and the self in their relation with relative existence. It is especially an outline of the dream life of the individual spirit. For in all these identifications and changes, the self is unchanging. In all these births and deaths, the self remains birthless and deathless. The fact that we so easily forget this truth is evidence of how good we are at fooling ourselves. We are always masters of this situation. I especially want to point out that the Upanishad is not saying that by doing good one becomes good. Rather, it is saying that good dream actions produces good dreams, that the quality of the role of the individual person is playing in the dream changes according to person's actions. But it is only a drama. The reality being that the self is never really a part of relativity, nor can the dreams of relativity affect the true, transcendent nature of the self any more than Brahma is affected by the changes of the dream creation. On this there is the following verse. The object to which the mind is attached, the subtle self, goes together with the deed, being attached to it alone, exhausting the results of whatever works he did in this world. He comes again from that world to this world for fresh work. This is for the man who desires, but the man who does not desire, he who is without desire, who is freed from desire, whose desire is satisfied, whose desire is the self, his breaths do not depart. Being Brahma, he goes to Brahma. On this there is the following verse. When all the desires that dwell in the heart are cast away, then does the mortal become immortal? Then he attains Brahma here in this very body. Just as the slough of a snake lies on an ant hill dead, cast off, even so lies this body. But this disembodied immortal life is Brahma only, is light indeed. On this there are the following verses. The narrow, ancient path which stretches far away has been touched, found by me, has been realized by me. By it the wise, the knowers of Brahma, go up to the heavenly world after the fall of this body, being freed even while living. That path was found by a Brahma, and by it goes the knower of Brahma, the doer of right, and the shining one. The way to realization is subtle. Without refinement of mind and the interior faculties of perception, yoga is not going on. Yoga is itself the purification of the mind and heart in order to allow the highest powers of the individual to come into play and transform his life and consciousness. This is a total overhaul of external and internal life, and yet it is only a part of yoga. The yogic path is long and stretches far away. It takes lifetimes, many if we dawdle, and not so many if we knuckle down and put our whole heart into it. So we need to get busy. There can be no periods of coasting along, deluding ourselves that our liberation is assured and just around the next corner. Buddha meditated and engaged in intense discipline right up to the moment of his leaving the body, even though he had attained enlightenment decades before, and so did Swami Shivananda. All real yogis do the same. The successful yogi is freed even while living. Liberation takes place right here in this world, which is no longer an obstacle to enlightenment. By changing himself, the yogi changes the effect the world has on him. What hindered him before now helps him. The once closed door is now open to him. Death is the final going through that door. For him there will be no return unless he wills it. It is interesting that the narrow, ancient path which stretches far away has been found by me, is paraphrased in the esoteric creed of the Westwood Leadbeater Mass, which says, We believe in the law of good which rules the world and by which one day all his sons shall reach the feet of the Father, however far away they stray. We strive towards the ancient narrow path that leads to life eternal. So shall his blessing rest on us and peace for evermore. Amen. Into blind darkness enter they who worship ignorance. Into greater darkness than that, as it were, they that delight in knowledge enter. Those words covered with blind darkness are called joyless. To them after death goes those people who have not knowledge, who are not awakened. Those who worship the darkness of ignorance enter the realms of darkness after death, and those devoted to knowledge, that is no true knowledge at all, but also ignorance, enter into even darker worlds after death. That's why Jesus said, if therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? For if we are deluded and our light, which we think is knowledge, is really false and is darkness, we will never seek the true light. Any relative world is fundamentally joyless and enveloped in darkness, so the truly wise understand no world is fit to live in, for they are all realms of death and constant change. There is no peace possible for those who live therein, but those who know the self have ended that compulsion. If a person knows the self as I am this Purusha, then wishing what and for desire of what should he suffer in the body? Needing nothing more than the self, to what pain or trouble will he impel himself? For whom or to what purpose? He abides in complete realization. I am the Purusha, the self. Desire being the root of rebirth, when it is eliminated, rebirth vanishes along with it. Whoever has found and has awakened to the self, that has entered into this perilous, inaccessible place, the body. He is the maker of the universe, for he is the maker of all. His is the world, indeed he is the world itself. Since the self wills the entry into relative existence and the lives therein, it makes the universe. For the universe is but a dream within a dream, the dream of the individual self within the dream of the Supreme Self. Verily, while we are here, and we may know this, if we know it not, we would be ignorant. Great is the destruction. Those who know this become immortal, while others go only to sorrow. This is a truth which our earthly experiences prove over and over, yet human beings run after everything but Brahma, thinking that outside Brahma, peace and fulfillment is possible. The suffering may be very subtle, but it will be there nonetheless. If one clearly beholds him as the self, as God, as the Lord of what has been and what will be, he does not shrink away from him. Since darkness is dispelled by light, those who dwell in darkness while thinking it is light run away from the light, lest it take away their false light. Insane as it is, humans run after that which pains and destroys them, and run away from that which pains and destroys them, and run away from that which can end all suffering and death for them. This is what it means to be truly negative. Darkness is seen as light and light is seen as darkness. It is like a photographic negative in which the light portions are dark and the dark portions are light. As long as we cling to the unreal, to darkness and to death, we cannot be led to the real, to the light and to immortality. What a terrible condition. That in front of which the year revolves with its days, what the gods worship as the light of lights, as life immortal. That in which the 5 groups of 5 and space are established, that alone I regard as the self. Knowing that immortal Brahma, I am immortal. So I end this video here and continue the same knowledge of the self in the third video. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video. Subscribe the channel. Third video will start, that in front of which the year revolves with its days. So third video will start from this sentence. So thank you my dear friend. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. Namaskar.